Hi, I'm Dan McTeague with this week's gas price predictions across Canada with tomorrow's gaspricetoday.com TGPT television. It's going to be an interesting weekend. A lot of people are expecting huge increases at the pumps, given that it is a long weekend as we're heading into the first week of August. But nothing to really worry about. Starting Wednesday, July 31st, most people are going to see a decrease anywhere from 0.6 cents a litre in the Toronto, Ottawa, and out in towards the Montreal area, with other locations getting an even bigger break, starting with the regulated markets in Eastern Canada. So let's start there. This week should see an average of 3 cent a litre decrease across the board for New Brunswick, for Nova Scotia, and for Newfoundland. And if you don't see that, of course, it just means that they're mucking around with the retail margin. They're adding or padding it so that the real true price decrease doesn't actually arrive at consumers' pumps as quickly as it ought to. But generally speaking, because they have a sort of a lag in their system, what the rest of the country has seen in a decrease over the past few days, they'll finally get in the Maritimes. It really speaks to the fact that regulating prices simply doesn't work for consumers. But enough on that. Quebec will see the same or similar decrease over the next couple of days as we head into the weekend. Although I think that come Thursday night into Friday, we could start to see prices going back up again. And that's simply because the U.S. inventory report on petroleum has shown an increase in the amount of inventory for both gasoline and for oil. But at the same time, the GDP growth numbers for the second quarter of the United States were far better than expected. And that means that hedgers, the people who are really moving the money, the speculators, that's your money managers, your big investment banks that we've talked about so many times before, who drove these prices to really unrealistic levels, are continuing to look at the idea that more and more Americans will get to work. And because the United States is so critical for gasoline, it really means that prices could indeed start to trend up come Thursday night into Friday, and that has nothing to do with games on the long weekend. Now for Ontario, particularly in Ottawa, for instance, you should see another penny and a half decrease going into the weekend. And of course, on the weekend itself, Ottawa, like so many communities, Niagara Falls, Chatham, if you're thinking maybe outside of anywhere outside of Toronto, so your Peterborough, your North Bays, all those regions outside off the beaten track into cottage country could see prices drop to as little as $1.23, $1.22 a litre. That doesn't mean that those prices will remain, because as we know, after the long weekend's over, say by Tuesday, the 5th or the 6th, those prices will go right back up to $1.29 to $1.30. Now for Toronto, of course, the price will decrease, as we know, Wednesday night into Thursday by 0.6 cents a litre, bringing average prices to $1.30.9, and you'll see a little bit less in other regions around. As for the West, good news. We're starting to see wholesale prices decrease out there, particularly when you consider places like Saskatchewan, Alberta, and into the British Columbia interior. You could see prices drop as much as 2 cents a litre before Friday, and that would mean, of course, less is always better for motorists. Same for Vancouver, but not so much for Victoria, which remains stubbornly fixed at $1.41.9. We're a little mystified by that because prices at the wholesale level have actually dropped. So there's been some serious padding by refiners / wholesalers and even some retailers. Let's go back to Manitoba for a second, because we have been very concerned, and we've done a number of interviews with our partners at CJOB Chorus in that region. There has been real mystery as to why, when wholesale prices are 84 and 85 cents a litre and you add the taxes of 24 cents a litre, you then add what would normally be a decent retail margin of 7, maybe 8 cents a litre. That brings us to $1.24, $1.25 a litre, not $1.30.4 or $1.30.9. So there has to be some explaining there, and we would call and urge on consumer groups and advocates and even governments to have a look at it, not from a perspective of regulating prices, but from a perspective of ensuring that there's fairness at the pumps. And if there's a lack of competition there, well, then Ottawa should wake up, because frankly, leaving a situation where people are being ripped off as much as $8 to $10 a barrel or a tank full of gasoline is unacceptable. Now that's pretty much it until August the 6th. We'll be back to you then, but keep looking at our site to give you up-to-date information as to where prices are going to go at tomorrow's gaspricetoday.com. And remember, because prices don't fluctuate within cities unless you're talking about big box stores, we are truly Canada's largest energy and fuel consumer source. Much bigger than Gas Buddy. I use that as a name because, of course, a lot of advertisers and others think they're the cat's meow. They may be the case in the United States where they actually have competition, street corner to street corner. But in Canada, without competition, the only hedge that you have as a motorist is right here at tomorrowsgaspricetoday.com. So keep checking in, and we'll keep saving you money. Have a great week. Have a great long weekend. Make sure it's safe and safe travels on the roads. And if you have any questions, always feel free to use our forum section. So again, Dan McTeague, TGPT.TV. See you next week.